Now we're taking a walk down a little bit of a different spot on the river, seeing what we can find. There's a few little things that pop up every now and then, and I wanted to kind of show you guys this one. This really lovely Jasper just popping out of the ground. I'm gonna zoom on that a little bit better for you so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Isn't that pretty? It's not big, it's just a little, you know, sort of walnut shape size, but ooh, look at that. Some really pretty banding on it. It's a nice little piece of a nodule. That looks pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. Looks like we got some a seal over there messing with some ducks. But anyway. We're going to keep on taking a look around and see if we can't find anything on the edge of this. This is really going to be, so if you're looking for cool agates and jaspers, especially in this light, right along the water line is a good spot because you can always find really cool stuff. Looks like there's a really super bright piece of yellow jasper right here, right? So these are easy things, you know, like if you're out gravel bar walking and you need a few little tips for places to look, or maybe you just you've never been out, you know, on a gravel bar rock hounding. Maybe you've never been rock hounding before at all, and it's just basically all you're doing is walking around and taking a look for what you think you might like. Well, somebody else may not like it. That's fine. If you like speckly red rocks, then go after speckly red rocks. Have a freaking ball with it. Go to town. If you like unusual patterns, maybe it looks like something else, maybe you make parquet stuff and you're thinking about, well, you know, parquet and marquetry with stone isn't all that much different than parquet and marquetry with wood. Well, it's a little harder, but that's really where the only difference is in the difficulty level. So go out and get the rocks that you think you like. Nobody says that you have to obey any one formula over what is or isn't an awesome rock. You know, if this brick red, if that's what's blowing your hair back, pick it up. Work with it. See what you can make out of it. Here's a little piece of petrified wood. There's no rhyme or reason with lapidary. If you like the color and it's something that you know you want to work with, then work with it. Who's going to tell you you're wrong? Who's going to say that your art is wrong to you? That you didn't know what the color of a salmon was when you chose to make a salmon picture or carving? Who's to say that that color green isn't the color of green that you perceive in your artistic vision? Nobody with any real credibility is the person who has the authority to tell you about your art. Sure, there are critics, but art critics are internet trolls for just the art world. And really, how much credibility are we putting in the hands of trolls? Not much. So let's keep that in mind when we pick the various stone that we want to work with. What color is it for you? What does the pattern or color of the stone say to you? What shade of red is that to you? Obviously, it's a couple of different colors. It's got a little patchy, splotchy appearance. But if you're working with something that has a patchy and splotchy appearance, I don't know, apples. I don't know, a few other red things. But let's go with that. Apples. Apples have a splotchy little appearance, and maybe you're trying to carve an apple. Or you want to make an apple inlay. You'd look for stones with that red splotchy appearance to give you that variegation of an apple skin. Not too hard, but you want to think about that. Does that rock convey that? Would it be better if you found a few different ones of different shades and tried to carve the wedges that look like the variegations on the edge of an apple? Would you do any better or worse? Maybe, maybe not. But you'd still be looking for reds. Or greens for a green apple, who knows? The point is that you're looking around for a general color, general texture, general patterning, shape, and preferably a rock that hasn't been cracked into pieces through impact and tumbling. In all, not a hard search, just a different kind of search. Because, maybe you do want that different color. Maybe you are out there looking for just barely a nodule that you want to carve and cut. It's all about that texture and color. Find out the one that you want to search for and just do it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Is a large portion of rockhounding is really what I'm doing right now. I'm just out walking. Not necessarily a bad thing. When you got a day like this, though, it isn't too bad. Go walk, take a look around, have some fun. There's nothing really difficult about this. No. See, I'm doing this for a reason, because, well, y'all wonder what I look like. I'm horribly disfigured, obviously. But, yeah, I'm just kind of doing the one thing that every other rockhounding channel does, and they stick the face of their creator on the screen for about, I don't know, good 50% of the video. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stick my face in this video, and, obviously there's some really beautiful scenery here. But it's to illustrate the point that it doesn't really matter. We're looking at pretty rocks. You can look at my face for half of the duration of the video. I can ramble on about, rocks and pretty stuff and side nature things in life, and, we'll see how that works. So far, it doesn't feel very natural to me because I'm not really showing you any of the rocks that I'm walking over, but, hey, people in metrics insist on seeing the face of the creator, whether or not they, that actually contributes to anything to the content of the channel. But, yeah, here it is. Isn't this wonderful? Yeah, I know, this is so great compared to all my other rockhounding videos. Okay, well, enough of that. We're going to turn the camera around. This is a pretty little spot, though. So enough of that display of me sarcastically kind of putting it out there. Here's a pretty little thing. Now it looks like it's you know, it looks like it's aventurine. That's what it looks like to me. There's a lot of it here. Comes up in great big massives. Obviously, we always go past, you know, the really weird stuff. Quartzes. Quartz with calcite in it. Lobster quartzes. There's no lobster quartz there. So, there's a lot of different stuff out here. Just depends on what you're looking for. A lot of times when you go to gravel bars that maybe that you haven't visited before, there's an entirely unfamiliar set of rock, and it may seem difficult. You know, oh God, everything looks like river stone. Where's the agates? Well, they may or may not be there on that particular gravel bar. It's not to mean that there aren't agates in the entire river system. It just means that maybe you're not finding any on that gravel bar at that time. Because I can tell you that this gravel bar that I'm walking on right now, I've walked dozens of times, and I never fail to find something new. I always find something new here. It would be foolish to suggest that any gravel bar is completely picked over. I mean, that can happen in some very, very touristy areas, but when you're on the Wild Rivers coast and on one of the least accessible rivers of the Wild Rivers coast, those factors seem to melt away. Those mitigating factors that could argue against finding something. You're always going to find something. May not be worth picking up, but you'll find something. Well, we'll just keep on looking around, and hopefully we find a little something hanging out here. Got a couple of cool little Jasper finds, you know, nothing too spectacular. But when you're rockhounding, a big part of the component is the physical exercise. You're out there moving, you're balancing on unstable rocks, working your core, getting some fresh air, away from the idiot box. Yeah, generally fun stuff. The idea is to just take a look around. See what's there. Use your senses. It's not overly complicated stuff. When it comes to identifying stones, it can get hard. That can be difficult. I won't take that away from anybody who says that identifying a stone is difficult, because it can be. What has a waxy texture to me may not necessarily mean the same thing to you. When I say waxy texture, you may think apple skin instead of, you know, a drop of wax dropped on the coffee table or a counter. That how we describe things and how we perceive that description greatly affects what we do. There's a nice little piece of petrified wood right there. It's pretty cool. You can really see the grain detail in that. It's pretty nice. Now there's another one. I just talked about the grain detail in that you could see it. Grain detail is not readily apparent to everybody. Everybody perceives that a little bit different. They think unless it looks like quarter sawn oak, it's not grain detail. Or unless it looks like their dining room table or their desk at work, that somehow that must not be grain detail. Obviously, that's a mistake, and it's a subjective mistake. But our job is to gently and firmly continue talking about what grain detail looks like and how that can be viewed across several different stones. There's another piece of petrified wood from the same type of tree. Slightly different grain detail. Does it make it wrong? No, it's just different. It's little subjective things that take time, and they take exposure. So the more you see something, the more you're exposed to that type of material, the easier and more readily identifiable it is to you. Now, we talked about these characters before. Now, you can just barely see. There's a little ring, frosty material going around it. Now, I know if we were to cut this, we'd get a little bit of mossy and a little bit of plumy texture expressing itself in this stone. And it's just because we know that there's a little concentric ring of, not necessarily concentric, it's a ring, a misshapen ring, a formless ring around a structure. And that kind of tells us that it's clear chalcedony. Now, that white has a little bit of clarity to it as I can see it, through the naked eye. It may not translate on the camera, but it's a little thing. It's a little telltale that'll probably tell you that there's some clear material inside this stone. And how do you know that? A very long time of experiencing the same kind of stones. It's the same way that you would know that this creature right here is a really nice gemmy piece of serpentine, because the naked eye tells you that there's a little bit of translucence to the quality. And here you can see that it's opaque. And a really poor quality example. But the message is the same. You look at it, just kind of experience different types of stone over a period of time, and it develops a pattern for you that you can see. And you being able to tell in the field is one of those things that keeps you from dragging home a bucket of leverite, as opposed to a bucket of really nice high-grade Jasper. Just take the time. That's all. A little bit of research, careful examination. You don't have to, you don't have to go off writing a master's thesis about every rock you pick up. Just a little bit of knowledge will help you. There's that beefsteak Jasper. You see, it kind of resembles cut beef, the marbling in cut beef. That's why they call it beefsteak. That's it. Yeah, little trade names, little things that people always allude to when they're out. It's a little bit of rhyolite. Now, I like rhyolite because of the waves in it, right? You can sort of tell that it's not Jasper because it's got sort of the material appearance of unglazed stoneware, right? So it's got that rough, bricky, clay sort of appearance to it. And then there's an occasional little swirl of still pretty bricky material, but there's more silica in this, right? Think of it like, I'm going to use a horrible food reference here. When you're making ice cream and you've got your vanilla ice cream and you start adding in your ingredients, and you put in the swirl of raspberry and maybe some chocolate chips. Those would be the additives that get swirled into the volcanic material that creates these swirl patterns. And that's because this item, when it was rolling, you know, just kind of rolled and picked up some undulations from the ground, swirling through that little pot, and then it got ejected, hit something cool, solidified, and became part of the chunk of rhyolite that you see here. Obviously eroded down significantly. But really, that's it. They pick up their colors because they're swirled and they get some small eddy current from being carried down a stream. Now, some of you may have seen that on that the La Palma volcano when it was taking some big stones down the hill. You'd see that the lava would stop and it would circle around and sort of roll a rock around before carrying it down. Similar situation, but not quite. I'm oversimplifying that an awful lot. But it's the amount of silica in stones that determines good versus not good. And thankfully, I grabbed that red and yellow one while we were doing a little bit of chatting, and you got to look at my horribly disfigured mug. So there we go. Let's take a look at that. Now you can see with both of the top ones, you've got like a little shiny quality to them, right? See that? Alright, there's that one. Let's go ahead and show the shiny quality on this one. See how it's got like a more glassy texture, right? You can almost see that smooth, shiny texture coming through, right? Even conchoidal fracturing on it, right? Got evidence of conchoidal fracturing. You got evidence of conchoidal fracturing on this guy. Now let's look at this one. It's really dull, right? You know, even when we turn it, it doesn't really have that shine, okay? Doesn't have the shine that this guy has. Nowhere near it. It's really dull. It looks like brick. It's got a general dull appearance to it, right? Turning it doesn't really bring out any of that shine. We even got some sun coming out on this. There's no shine to it, right? There's no real conchoidal fracturing. It's not enough, right? There isn't enough silica in it to bring that about. So this one we would call an inferior grade of Jasper. It's low quality because it's all fractured and cracked. You can tell that it's sedimentary, but it's all cracked. It's got some chalcedony in it, or silica, but it's not enough to give you these. To give you that luster of the stone when it polishes. There won't be any of this kind of luster when you polish a stone like this. It'll just stay as flat as this color. You might get a glossy finish on it, but it will still be flat in color. There won't be any genuine vibrancy to it. It's all sort of monochromal. Yeah, monochromatic? Monochromal? We'll go with one of those. But there isn't enough of this character in it. Chalcedony. I just picked that one up from right over here. But yeah, just kind of got to watch out for it. But in all, when you're out there, it doesn't really matter which one, you know, I say. If you like that dull, bricky stone, use it. There's no one stopping you from doing that. Use it all day. Use it to your heart's content. And if it sells, hey, amazing. But, you know, just understand that sometimes you just gotta walk a little further and you might find a stone with a little bit more chalcedony content to give you a much more stable piece. Now you see this one here has similar coloration to the other stone we looked at, but the difference with this one is that you can definitely see evidence of conchoidal fracturing. There's calcite or chalcedony intrusions, little banding. It's got a very nice reddish quality to it, good color, and it has a lot of the same colors as that previous stone. Just a better quality or concentration of silica within the stone to make it more stable. It also means that you're going to have a more vibrant stone to match whatever design you're trying to work that against. Little stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect, but, you know, this stone might be a better choice than the other one. And it's purely because it's significantly more stable. That's what it comes down to. Because when you're out here, you may never get back to that stone, and you may never find the other one. It's not a big deal, but, you know, picking the right stone helps you, and just searching around and being exposed to different kinds of rock over time will definitely help you out with that. Just don't be afraid to pick things that you think are cool. Don't rely on just me or just any other rock hound. Get out there, experience some nature for yourself, and see if any of this is something that interests you. It may not. You may only go out a couple of times and pick up agates off of a beach when you're on vacation. And that may be the only time you ever do it. But it's nice to have a little bit of knowledge to know what you're picking up. Like this really nice chocolatey brown jasper. Pretty rare. It's in this area all the time. But unless you're walking around and using your senses, it's kind of lost on you. So just pick out what you think looks fun, what you think looks good for you, and well, screw anybody else who doesn't like it. So, thanks for watching, guys. And remember to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help. Share the video if you want. Don't share it if you don't. I appreciate you watching all the same. And I guess now you know what my ugly mug looks like. So if you've made it this far in the video, remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. So many of my viewers are not subscribers. And yeah, I'd rather have some of you as subscribers. So, thanks for watching. And remember, folks, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I'm out.